rule number one, and probably the most important rule, is never take one gesture and say it means something. We take what's called a cluster of gestures. Now, I want you to imagine that each gesture or movement or expression is like a word in a sentence. Now, you need other words either side of that one word to fully understand what they mean by that one word. So, for example, if you and I are talking and you're asking for my support, and I say, look, I'll certainly support you. Would you believe me? Well, we know that more than 95% of people wouldn't believe me because of the nose touch. Mostly it's without awareness. They're not sure why they don't believe me, but unconsciously they saw the nose touch, which is connected to lying in most Western and European countries. But I might have had an itchy nose. Maybe I had hay fever. Maybe I haven't shaved properly. Maybe I've got garlic from eating too much lunch. There's too many possibilities for one word. So when I say to you, sure, I'll support you, maybe I had an itchy nose and you've misread it. Let's put it into a cluster of at least 3 gestures. Here's how it would look. I will certainly support you, and what you say sounds very, very good, and I feel very, very confident that I'll proceed. Now you've got a cluster of at least 3, 4 gestures that show you in the context of what's happening that I'm not telling you the truth. So rule number 1, always read gestures in clusters of at least 3. Rule number 2, look at the congruence that's happening in the scene. In other words, does the body language agree with what you're hearing? For example, if I feel positive about you and what you're presenting, if I feel yes, there's a good chance that I might start nodding my head. Yes, 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 yes. In most cultures, not all, but in most cultures, this is an agreement signal, has its origins in bowing. You're bowing to be submissive to the person, so therefore it computes to being a yes signal, an agreement signal. So if I agree with you and I tell you, it would look like this. Yes, I like that idea. That's a great idea. Yes, you can count on my support. In other words, the gesture's congruent with what you're hearing. Now, what if I didn't like the idea, didn't like what you're saying, and I was prepared to tell you? It would look like this. No, I don't like the idea. I don't like what you're saying. I don't like it. And no, I won't proceed. Again, the body language gesture is congruent with the words. I'm using a head shaking gesture, which is a no signal in almost every country. Has its origins, it seems, from breastfeeding when babies are born. They're put on the breast to feed. When they've had sufficient milk, they make that movement to reject the food. And if the mother insists on feeding the baby and it doesn't want to be fed, it'll poke its tongue out to remove the feed. That's why the rudest gesture in the whole world in every country is, that's its history. The third rule of reading body language is to look at the context under which you see things happening. So, for example, if it was a very cold day and you saw people standing at a bus stop with their arms crossed, you'd probably decide, looking at the context under which that's happening, that they're cold. But what if you're in a meeting with them and you put a price to them? You say, for example, your investment in this product, idea and service is, and you nominate the amount, and someone leans back and crosses their arms. Now in the cluster, in the context under which it happens, there's a fairly good bet that they don't like what you just said.